Show, everybody. Michael, Don, and Peter with you until 6:30 on this Wednesday. And since it's Wednesday, that means it's time for Mike Lupica, the brilliant all-time columnist of the New York Daily News, author as well, best-selling author. He joins us every Wednesday, and he joins us right now. Mike, how are you?
Gentlemen, I'm well. I've enjoyed this U.S. Open immensely. We have a great. I know we're going to get to baseball in just a second. We have a great situation on Friday where two young American men.
Oh, that's right.
Are going to be playing to get to the final. It would be the first American man in the final since 2006, when Andy Roddick lost to Roger Federer.
You brought that up 2 weeks ago. That our hope to get back
Andy
there.
won. I forgot. I forgot that Andy made it back. I know that Andy's the last American man to win a major and to win the Open in 2003. And then 3 years later, he lost in 4 sets to Roger Federer at the Open. So these are two great young guys. Francis Tiafoe's story, I wrote a column about him a couple days ago. It's just a great American immigrant story about him and his family coming to this country from Sierra Leone, and his father was the custodian at the Junior Champions Tennis Club down in Maryland.
College Park.
They slept there sometime. No, it's a wonderful story either way. Taylor Fritz, I covered his mom, Kathy May, the May department store family from Southern California. So it's going to be good either way.
Let me ask, since you're here though, and obviously we'll get to a heaping of Clay Holmes, but since you brought it up already, I'll just stay here for a second. Am I wrong for, I root for Tiafoe. He's from the D.C. area. I'm a big fan. Obviously, I want to see American win this thing if it's possible for anyone to beat Sinner or Medvedev. But there's something about Tiafoe so far, Mike. I feel like he's missing a killer instinct. Am I wrong for having some doubt about him winning the big one?
No, I think he's got it. No, I think he is getting absolutely the most out of his talent. David Witt has been a great hire for him as a coach. And here's the great thing about Francis. And I think the crowd will slightly be more for Francis on Friday night, but they're not going to root against Taylor Fritz, who's a great kid, okay? But here's the thing about Francis. People in sports, they like who they like. And these crowds love Francis Tiafoe. He's been knocking on the door for a couple of years. I was at Center Court, Wimbledon, a couple of months ago, where he gave Alcaraz all he wanted on the first Friday of the tournament, 2-1, tiebreaker in the 4th set. So Alcaraz was that close to being out of the tournament. And listen, Wimbledon's my favorite event. You guys have heard me talk about it. But there's a tennis sound that only the U.S. Open can make, and can only make at Arthur Ashe Stadium because of the size of the place. And the guy who's hearing the biggest sound is Francis Tiafoe. These crowds love him the way they loved Jimmy once, the way they loved Andre Agassi once. The only difference is he hasn't won a major yet.
We're talking with Mike Lupica, his Wednesday spot on the show. Mike, going to baseball, what's a more interesting story to you? The way the Yankees keep stubbing their toe, or what the Mets are doing?
Well, it's very close, Michael. I actually just got off the phone with him, and a guy I love. I love Carlos Mendoza. I love the job he's done, and just talking to him about where they are and how they're playing their best ball when they need to be playing it. Okay, but the Yankees are a compelling story for so many reasons. Yes, they started out big again. We've seen them do that before. They've been a 500 team since starting off big. We've seen that before. And Michael, I'm sorry, but if you watch this team every day, the fact that they did not address their closer situation at the trade deadline could be the thing that sinks them. Okay, I did a little research today because people keep saying, well, there weren't any options. Yeah, there were. Yeah, Michael Kopech, 3-0 with the Dodgers, 0.59 ERA, 6 holes, 3 saves, 15 innings, 20 strikeouts in 15 games. Okay, Tanner Scott, 3-0, 2.4 ERA, 16 games, 6 holes, 2 saves, 15 innings, 17 Ks. Jason Adam, 3-0. He's starting a trend here. That's 9-0 for these three guys who all got traded, okay? 0.60 ERA, 15 games, 4 holds, 15 innings, 21 Ks. They're all strikeout pitchers, okay? And what I don't want to hear is that the price was too high. George Young told me 1,000,000 years ago, before the Giants won their first Super Bowl, your economics change when you have a chance to win. And there's no team that needs to win more because the Yankees don't know if they're going to keep Soto. So they can't, Michael, they can't bomb out in the first round of the playoffs after trading what they had to trade to get to one of the best players in baseball and not knowing whether they're going to keep it. Everybody could see. I know that Clay Holmes has been an all-star. I know he's been a nice pitcher. But I've been writing this for a couple of months. Anybody who reads my column knows this, okay? Can you see him getting the last 3 outs in the game that clinches it or puts the Yankees over the top in October? And the answer is no. The answer is no. And, Michael, I listened to you last night, and you and David Cohn, about 6 pitches in to the bottom of the ninth, knew how that book was going to end.
Mike, did you have a problem with them not calling up Dominguez?
That to me is to me that's a sidebar, okay? Except in the context of whatever they were being asked for those 3 relief pitchers that I just mentioned, okay? Because those teams, the Phillies, Padres, and Dodgers, all went out and enhanced the back end. And maybe the price, Donnie, maybe the price was one of these prospects, like Jason Dominguez, who is such a hot prospect that they haven't brought him up yet for September.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but, I mean, there has to be untouchable prospects, and he's going to be your left fielder next year, hopefully for the next 10 years. And I truly believe, and maybe they miscalculated, they felt that Clay Holmes was their closer. He went to the All-Star game. He's closed big games for them. But 11 blown saves don't lie. But if you look at what the Dodgers gave up for Kopech, they didn't give up their best prospect. Well, I mean, the White Sox made terrible trades.
No, Mike. All I would say, I don't even know if anybody asked about Dominguez. Maybe there was no conversation. That's what I'm saying. I just know that we hear an awful lot about Yankee prospects for an awful long time. Okay, Spencer Jones, and now it's Jason Dominguez. But when I look on the field, okay, where are they? The last great prospect that they had, who turned out to be great, is the guy in center field who's hitting 100 home runs this year. And all I'm saying is I don't want to hear afterwards that they got asked for too much to get Kopech, okay? Michael, we could see what was happening. And believe me, I'm not here to beat up on Clay Holmes. He seems like a very nice young man, and he's had some success here. But 11 blown saves is 11 blown saves. And they had a chance to address this at the trade deadline. And those are just 3 names that I threw out at you. Jason Adam, Tanner Scott, Michael Kopech. Okay? And they were obviously available because they all got traded.
And you could throw in Phil Maton, too, who's done a great job for the Mets.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Mike, I'm sorry. I sometimes think that for all of the lip service that the owner pays to how much he wants to win, and he gives one of those tough-talking interviews every so often, I think he just kind of likes things the way they are. He likes being a contender every year. He's looking out and seeing a full stadium. He likes the ratings you guys are getting on Yes. And so here we are again. But if they don't make it at least back to the league championship series after what we've seen of their best ball this year, then how can anybody have confidence in the construct of this team and the ability of this front office to not just build a 100-win team or a 95-win team, but build a team that wins the first World Series since 2000.
See, I'm going to respectfully push back a little bit on the Hal stuff. I mean, he desperately wants to win a championship. Why would he have a $313 million payroll? You could be all those things you just said with a $250 million payroll.
Michael, okay, and I'll push back, okay? The price we have been told for 7 years was too high for Justin Verlander in 2017, when he absolutely would have been the difference between the Yankees and the Houston Astros. I don't know how many other times that has happened. We can go back to Cliff Lee, the year that they couldn't close the deal on Cliff Lee. And I'm cherry picking here, but these are big names in big spots for a team that, again, they still sell World Series or bust. It's not realistic for them to sell that when you haven't been to the World Series in 15 years. And he may want to win, and he may be willing to spend, Michael, but where was the urgency at this trade deadline with what was a glaring issue for his baseball?
But isn't that on his GM? I mean, he has a blind belief in Brian, and he allows Brian to acquire whoever he wants. I don't think Hal said we can't get this guy because of money.
But Michael, what happened when there was a slight holdup in the Soto deal? What happened then? Who stepped in and said, make the damn deal? That actually was the owner of the team, okay?
And he's the guy who made the Judge deal. He stepped in.
Okay, so where I don't know what he was told. I don't know what the inner conversations were at the trade deadline, but I get a little frustrated when I hear they didn't have any good options. Yeah, they did.
But my take on the whole account is the accountability thing. All right, yeah, Hal spends money and Hal wants to win. What owner doesn't want to win? But when you're selling World Series or bust and you've won one World Series since 2000, the only person I see that has been held accountable has been Joe Girardi. Brian Cashman's got a job for life, and I'm not saying that Aaron Boone deserves to be fired, but if it's World Series or bust and you haven't gone to the World Series in 15 years, the only guy that's been held accountable is Joe Girardi, and he went to Game 7 of the League Championship Series.
Right. There's a certain institutional stubbornness from people in this organization. And I like the manager. I don't think it's the manager's fault, okay? But there's an institutional stubbornness. I mean, he has had the job now since, 2018, Aaron has, okay? And there's an institutional stubbornness from the owner about his general manager. And guys, we've talked about this before. I'm not one of those people who looks at Yankee fans and saying, oh, they're acting spoiled or they're acting entitled. No, they're not, okay? But they're allowed to be frustrated. Michael, I don't know if you were here one day. I use the example of guys in their late 20s. There's a friend of our family, Dr. Greg, okay, 27 years old. So he doesn't remember when he was 3 years old and they beat the Mets in the Subway Series. So in his lifetime, he has one World Series memory with the New York Yankees. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear the stuff about what a crapshoot it is in October. Well, the Houston Astros have had the same crapshoot in October, and they've been to, 8 straight league championship series and 4 World Series.
Now, from the Mets' perspective, at Lindor, you see Stearns say that this is one of, if not the greatest Met non-pitching performances they've had in franchise history. We saw Piazza in 99. We saw Strawberry in 88. We saw Beltran in 06. Where do you put Lindor's season up with some of the best the Mets have ever had from a batting standpoint?
He is having an extraordinary season. It's what I was talking to Carlos about today, okay? And Carlos was saying that there's been a lot of great players on this team, but this particular player and what he does for this team on a daily basis, on and off the field, is off the charts. Here's my position, I really like Francisco Lindor enormously. I told Carlos today the first time I ever had a long talk with him was the spring training a couple years ago, and I knew how charming he was, I knew how talented he was, and the thing that blew me away is not just what a high baseball IQ he has, what a high IQ. This is an extraordinary person. And Carlos was saying today, this is New York. things get loud, okay? But when he's played badly, he's gotten up and he's come back. Remember how badly he was playing at the start of the season. And out of that bad play has come a career year. They were talking about it. Michael, I switched off just for a second last night.
Come on.
To go to the Mets game.
Nonsense.
No, Mike. It was Mike. I swear to God. You have Taylor check the remote. I'm sure that there's a way to check. Okay, I just cheated on you for a couple of minutes.
You know what? But
okay?
that's cause for divorce. I mean, you can't just cheat.
So shut up and listen. Okay, so he Alex Rodriguez, when he was a full-time shortstop, hit 30 or more 7 times. Lindor's now done it 5 times. He is walking. He is walking in the shoes of the greatest shortstops you've ever seen. And as they're playing their best, he's playing his best. And what I was about to say is there is no player in the league, including the great Ohtani, who is more valuable to his baseball team than Francisco Lindor is to the Mets right now.
All right, I'm going to do something crazy on this show, and that is remember that football starts tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, I know. No, it's nuts, but we're started tomorrow, and we talked earlier this week, Mike, about a Mike Clay article on ESPN.com. It had the Jets at the top of the league, essentially, and the Giants absolute dead last. Which do you think is more likely to happen? Jets making it to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, or the Giants being literally the worst team in all of football?
I don't think the Giants are going to be the worst team in the league, and I'm somebody who grew up a Giants fan, and I believe I've looked very objectively at the quarterback. Okay, I want him to do well. I like this coach a lot. Okay, in fact, I've actually reached out to the coach and told him that I'm drawing up a list of plays that I think are going to work this year. Now that he's doing the play. No, you guys laugh. Okay, I've had some great success in the Lupica family Turkey Bowl touch football game every year. I don't like to make a big thing of it, but I have that kind of offensive line.
Okay, President Nixon.
But, now you're lashing out because I switched off the game. Okay, that's
exactly
what
I'm
fine.
doing.
I know how.
You know me well.
I know how sensitive. No, I know what a snowflake you are. Okay, but
I thought I was the snowflake on this show. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, well, you're not the chief snowflake, but let me put it this way: you're on the medal stand, okay? And so all I'll say is this. I do think that the Jets are being a little over-evaluated, and I think the NFC East might be a little more vulnerable after the Eagles. I don't know. I can't tell you what Jaden Daniels is going to do. The Cowboys are a constant mystery. If the Giants, this is the fan in me, okay? If the Giants can get through September, October, and not have the roof having caved in on them again, I'd like to think that it's a tough schedule. I'd like to think that there are, 8 wins, maybe 8 wins, 9 wins, and because it's no fun if they stink. It's no fun. So the Jets are going to suck up all the oxygen, okay? And we're going to start finding out on Monday night just how much is left in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Okay, he's 40 years old. He's going to be 41 the first week of December. Mm-hmm. And I love hearing how great he's looked at practice.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something. I look like $1 million on the practice range at the golf course, okay? $1 million damn dollars. But it's a little different in his sport, not just because they're running at him, but now there are people who are going to try to put him on the ground on Monday night. This, to me, of all the games of the week, and I love the Packers and the Eagles in Brazil because historically neither one of those teams has ever played well in Brazil. Did you guys know
Didn't know that? No.
Today
no.
too. Yep. Well, I told you I'm not just here to entertain. I'm here to educate as well.
Thank you.
But the most compelling game of this weekend is the last one down in Santa Clara on Monday night. Guys, I can't wait to see this guy back on a football field.
So let me get this straight, Mike. I'm trying to understand. So you're going to be watching the Jets and the 49ers when at the same time the Yankees and the Royals are going to be on. Yes. Well, are you going to cheat on me again?
No, I'm not going to watch you at all on Monday night.
Oh, man.
Yeah, are you kidding?
And also, what I take from that is he doesn't have DirecTV, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
Now,
I don't have. No, I don't. And I. Oh my God! But here's the thing about the Royals. Okay, Michael. That injury has really hurt them.
Pasquantino was big. Yeah.
No, but Mike, they haven't won since he got hurt, right? So I'll just trust that Monday night will be a good and entertaining game, and that it won't be one of those games you guys got to because it's a suck fest, But I'll be back with you on Tuesday.
Although, why don't you DVR and watch it after the Giants?
He doesn't seem like that type.
No, because he's not a maniac.
I do have
DVRing a regular season baseball game is a commit to an insane asylum kind of offense.
This is great. This is great because a friend of mine asked me about a particular sports event. I forget what it was. Maybe it's a tennis match. Okay, he says, "Well, are you going to tape it and watch it later?" I never do that. Because, first of all, I don't have the discipline to not find out what's going on.
Yep.
That's one thing, okay? So I have the attention span, as you guys know, of a hummingbird. So I can't – I'm never going to wait. I have never gone back. I'll tape a game if I'm going to write about it. So if there's a place that I want to go back and look at again, I will. But I'm not that guy. Like Larry David, he's like a crazed Rangers fan, and he will tape the games and watch them later. I never do that.
Now, Peter and Don, I didn't tell you guys this, but I was talking to Mike Breen today before the show.
Okay.
And he said, who do you have on the show? And I said, well, we have Dan Orlovsky at 5:15, and we have Mike Lupica on, as we always do on Wednesday. He goes, played golf with Mike the other day. I said, really? I said,
yep.
What kind of golfer is he? And he lowered his voice, and he said, he's really, really excellent.
Wow.
And Mike's a good golfer.
Better,
Mike Breen is a good golfer, and he said that you're excellent.
Michael, I'm not as good as I used to be, but I can still get it around. Breen's better than I am, okay? And both of us, I'm not going to mention the name because it's a dear friend of ours, okay? And he was our host last Sunday. Mm-hmm. We finished the ninth hole, and he said, let's have lunch now. And Breen and I look at each other because it's never been a good thing for me to stop and have lunch. And we couldn't say anything, and we both fell completely apart on the back.
Oh, because you had lunch.
No, you can't. No, I mean, no. Did Scotty Scheffler, does he go have a burger? No, I don't think so.
No,
he does not.
But it must have been a tough call for Breen.
And what happened to him?
Because Breen loves to eat.
No, he loves to eat, and obviously from the pictures we've seen of the U too, he's not averse to daytime drinking. But
wow,
jeez.
Well, what do we not see the same picture of you? I look at that picture of you both every year from wherever it is out in Eastern Long Island,
right.
and there's no video, there's no sound, and I can actually hear you slurring your words.
You know me better than that. Now you're getting back at me. I don't even drink at night, let alone in the day. That's awful. What an awful thing for you to say.
Well, wait a minute. So you don't drink or use condiments?
That's right.
He does nothing. He does nothing.
I do nothing. I am a colossal bore.
Michael is the kind of guy who wants to live forever, but during that time has no interest in doing anything fun.
Beautifully said,
Peter. He just wants to be here.
That's beautifully said, Peter. Best thing you've contributed all year.
Thank you.
But you guys know I love being on this show, and I love Michael Kay, who I consider someone who's like a younger brother of mine, and it's why I've always wanted good things to happen to him. I'm glad you guys have landed on this new station. This is big time, right? 880, come on.
This is big. Now, Mike was at my wedding, Don. You know that,
yes,
and he had the greatest line of all.
Oh God! Oh God! Okay.
So the person who officiated the wedding was America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
Right.
Different times, everybody.
Yes.
And Mike turned to Brian Williams, who was sitting next to him, and said, Kay hired a Giuliani impersonator to marry him? That was a line of the wedding.
Yeah, and the answer is yes, that was the case.
And then it got worse because Giuliani's then wife, I've lost track of how many he's had, but she's sitting, I didn't know she was sitting right behind me.
Oh, my God. I didn't even know this.
And, so and I turned around and I said, "Hey, Judy." And she goes, "It's Judah." And I said, "Okay," and just turned back and then waited for the vows and just waited for it to be over.
Yeah.
Because you thought it wasn't going to happen, so you just wanted to see for sure that the vows took place.
No. I didn't. Listen. Was there a part of me that was thinking, Jody, runaway bride? Yes, a little bit.
Sure.
Julia Roberts on the horse riding away from. Yeah, but it was a small part. I think. At that point, she really did. She loved you, and she really wanted to marry you. Because when we first found out, do
it. Go ahead. We're breaking all rules.
No. I just when I first heard that you had gotten a date with Judy Applegate, okay, and whose career we'd all followed, and she just was always so great, smart and funny and great looking. I said, "Oh my God, did she lose a bet?" But then.
Oh man.
But then. What?
Don, why don't you finish this by telling him what you think of our marriage?
I think it's an arrangement more than a marriage.
What? Wait, no. I just was telling a joke.
No. Yeah, Don's joking too, sure.
Yeah, I'm joking. Yeah, sure.
He's kidding around, sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. This was one of the best appearances you've had.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Anything.
When did this go from being a 15-minute segment to a half-hour segment?
You know what?
Yeah.
You should double the invoice. You really should. You deserve more for today.
Oh, yeah, the invoice.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Mike, so much for everything.
No, thank you.
Goodbye. That is Mike Lupica. Hey, I talk for a living, and whether